being recorded. I better change what I was going to say. As we say in Australia, g'day mates. G'day. So I must apologise to my brothers because I wasn't listening as well to some of their presentations. I was texting a friar in Australia actually, and it's almost midnight. He's the National Spiritual Assistant to the seculars, and he was just talking about their recent chapter in September where Mary, the Vice Minister General, was present, and they had the same situation. One of the TOR's General Assistant was meant to come, but they couldn't get a visa. So it's not only the United States, it's also Australia as well. And I think we in Australia do have one of the most strictest visa policies, so it's I understand that. And he was sending his greetings to you all and sending his prayerful support during this time. So it is good that we've had that intercontinental connection. People were talking about the United States or the Americas as being one continent. I'm proud to say Australia is a continent on our own. So it is good to be here and to show that connection. As I said once before, I was also the National Spiritual Assistant in Australia about 25 years ago. So when I came into this job a few years ago, it's a little rusty on some of the presentations and the constitutions and things. So I had to get myself up to date. I came third because I'm one of the quickest speakers, I think, and to allow Father Christopher some time to say a few brief words after me. But as I often say, as Henry VIII said to his wives, I won't keep you long. So I just wanted to say that it is good to be here. And part of my visitation, going around to seeing some of the different regions, and I was just looking at a map. I'm still struggling with the names of the regions, so I need to know what state you live in. And so it's interesting when I looked at the regions. I've done more or less the middle. I've done Mother Cabrini, Laverna, Queen of Peace, de Padilla, and in a couple of weeks' time I'll do St. Clair. Most covers that some sort of geographical. One of those that I like to go to places I can drive. Somebody, I inherited a car 2.5 years ago. It had 8,500 miles on it. I just put it in for its 30,000 mile service. So I put 22,000 miles on it since I've had it. But one of the things I wanted to bring up, I guess, is that when I've done some of the visitations, one of the things I hear is some concern about the spiritual assistance formation, whether it be on a regional or a local level. And some saying some regions don't have a program, struggling to get something. Others have said they've got a really good program. I was very impressed with my very first visitation with Cheryl and Donna, which was in Joan of Arc. And when we were talking about the spiritual assistance preparation, one of the things that came out is that, it is a call, it is a response, and it's not something that we have a right to do. And one of the things that I heard in the Joan of Arc region that came up in our discussion was things like, you may do the program, but you may not be a spiritual assistant. And, that might be discerned program or at the end of the course that this is maybe not for you, and that we should all be prepared for that. It's not something that I would be very surprised if any of the friars would be saying, oh, I just can't wait to be provincial, I can't wait to be and often people say, those that say, oh, I just want to be a bishop, are probably the ones that shouldn't be. And I remember hearing many years ago when Cardinal Ulay became, a Canadian cardinal, became the prefect of the Congregation for Bishops, he said the thing that surprised him most were the number of people that turned it down. And, I know we had an ex-friar who was only with us for a year or so, well, actually a couple of years, and he became a bishop. He's now with the St. Paul the Hermit's congregation. And he became a bishop in country New South Wales because he's a native of that area. And he was only 47 at the time. And he said, I'm proud to say I was number 9 to be asked. So he was saying how many people are turning it down. And so when we come to spiritual assistance, it is a privilege, it's a great honour, and it's a great service to our region or to our fraternity. And so I think, what I was talking about with my brothers was we were looking at what is the national scene. Do regions have a program for training spiritual assistants? And, maybe asking if you do, whether you could send that to us so we could have a look and see what you're doing. I know I've spoken to some of the friars in different regions and said, we weren't really sure what to do, so we wrote our own. And, that could be good, but we do have national guidelines, and hopefully that they're in conformity with that. And I think one of our roles as national spiritual assistants is, as Jerome said, is to sort of oversee what's going on, not in any sort of dictator form, but just to perhaps give some gentle guidance, gentle suggestions, and some prodding. And if people are struggling in their regions with a program, maybe sharing the resources that other regions are doing. We've talked about, is it possible to have a national program course that suits every region? And some have said probably not. But certainly we want to see that the guidelines are being followed, that we can give assistance where we need to, and that's part of our role. So what I would ask is that if the regional ministers here do have a program of preparation, maybe you could send and sometime we might be able to have a look at those and offer suggestions, or you might have great programs that we... I don't know how many regions do have their own program. I don't know whether you want to put your hand up. And, quite a few it seems so, and some might be struggling, and I won't ask that. But if they are, this is a good opportunity to maybe just have a look, and we might get a better perspective and be able to offer some advice and to see that there is some sort of continuity. And as I say, if you are called and not chosen, that hopefully doing the program will be better Franciscans for it. So it's good. And but as I say, I think it's something that we need to see that is a service. It's not something that we should demand by right, or it's not a lifelong appointment. For some people, they may feel reluctant to I'm the best spiritual assistant that this region has ever seen, and they're lucky to have me. That might be true, but I think sometimes, we do need to get a different perspective, and I guess that's why there are term limits on those, as there are for national spiritual assistance. That's a good opportunity to refresh and move on when the time comes. But it is good to be here, and I do send you the prayers and greetings from the National Fraternity in Australia, and that they have assured us that they're praying for you. As I said, they had their chapter in September, so it's not that far ago, and they were telling me that they had their Vice Minister General there, and it was a great spiritual lift for them. So it's good to be here. Let us continue to pray for one another. We certainly need prayer to guide us, and may the Spirit be with you. Now I'd invite Father Chris to come forward, have a few brief words.